Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Happy on Purpose here at Valley FM. I'm your host, Janesse Pearson, and this is the show where we talk to people who are doing meaningful work in the world and helping make life a little better for others. Today's guest is Kim Vernon. Kim works in the financial services industry with World Financial Group, where she helps families better understand their finances and learn how to plan for their future. She's also part of a mission that focuses on giving people the opportunity to become financial services entrepreneurs and helping more individuals gain access to financial knowledge and resources. Boy, do we need that. Money can be one of those topics that feels overwhelming and confusing for a lot of people, but conversations like this can help make it a little more understandable. Kim, welcome to Happy on Purpose.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. This is just
what a great opportunity.
So exciting.
Yeah, it is so exciting. Well, I'm just so glad you were open to it. I know it can be a little intimidating, but I suspect you're an expert on all the questions that I'm going to ask you. So
for sure.
I think we're going to have a great, I hope. We can always edit, so it's good. So I like to start not at the very, very beginning, but for listeners meeting you for the first time, and this is also my first time meeting you other than by communicating by email. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you're doing today.
Beautiful. So my name is Kim Vernon. Today I'm a financial advisor, and I get the opportunity to sit with families and individuals and help them understand where they're at financially today and where we can hopefully get them to in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Did you have a background in finance prior to this?
Definitely not.
Okay, definitely not. You caught me off guard. Okay, so what did your life look like before you found financial services?
So I've been a government worker my entire life. My dad said, you got to get out, you got to get a government job, stability, structure, you're going to have a pension, benefits. Yeah. And so I did that. And then I realized that it was just too many restrictions for me. And I just decided that after my dad passed away, I realized that we just didn't know what we thought we had known. And so I reached out to a good friend of mine and was suggested this opportunity and fell in love with it.
Okay, so in government work, and it wasn't anything finance, you don't have to say what, but were you clerical? Were you
clerical? Yes.
All right. So you already like paper.
Yes.
So because that's a big one for people that don't like myself, that are more in my head than on paper. Numbers are very confusing for me. So I was excited about this conversation selfishly, even just for myself.
I was terrified to begin with, but it's not so bad once you get into it, because it's really just a matter of where we are right now, making small movements to get where we want to be. And that's just like life.
So in simple terms then, what does your work in financial services actually look like today?
Day to day.
It
looks like sitting down with wonderful people like yourselves, getting to know them, finding out what their dreams and goals are in life, where they've come from, what their investments are, what their income is, what their goals are in life, and then just clarifying exactly the best route, how we move from where we're at today to that end goal and being successful in getting there.
Right, because if you don't have a plan,
you're not going anywhere.
Right, you get to our age and all of a sudden you're like, oh, right, retirement.
It comes up really darn quick.
Yeah. Was there a moment or an experience that made you start thinking differently about financial education or entrepreneurship? What, other than you were in the government job, but what was going on? Because there's always a thing when people decide to go into business for themselves.
Absolutely. For myself, it was just sitting there working with all of my colleagues, realizing that my income was going to be capped. I had no control of my time. I had no control of where my future was going to be and how much more I was going to personally be able to save to retire effectively and how I wanted to. So that's really what started the process of thinking of something different. And then when I left my first government job, I signed off on my pension just like everybody gets when they leave an employment through government. And it sat there. And it was there for a while. And granted, it was growing. I was so thankful that I've had the opportunity to have many years of service. But I realized that I wasn't ever given the opportunity, the understanding, and the education to really know what I was signing. And so looking back now, I've had my second termination from employment, and I realized that was definitely not what I should have done the first time. So now I get the opportunity to sit with other people just like myself and explain the differences of just leaving your pension where it was, or possibly transferring it to grow better and put it more where it's going to benefit you.
Right. Because I think that is, I'm not going to make assumptions on your age, but you get to a certain part. I'm going to be 57, and that's what our parents taught us, right? Get a good job, preferably government. I find myself saying it to my kids now in this volatile environment that we find ourselves in the world. And I just want them to be safe, you know. But you're totally right. Like when we just put them in there and hope for the best, a lot of times we set up our accounts and it's like, okay, well, are you low risk, medium risk, or high risk? What the heck does that even mean? You know?
And do you ever go back and really get that looked at and checked?
I never did. Nope.
From an early age to our age, it's amazing how things change.
Yeah.
And you just need to make little tweaks to be able to benefit the most from it. So financial advisor is number one way to go. Somebody who understands what they're looking at, for sure.
Especially when it's not your forte, right? I think though, money is such a, which I kind of said in the intro, it feels almost like a taboo subject. I think we're just not taught, right? It's always, don't tell anyone how much you make. You don't want to be braggadocious. Maybe you make more, maybe you make less. I don't know. There's always like this crazy, I don't even know if it's a fear, but I just feel like it's taboo. It's like, we don't talk religion, money, or politics. Like that's what you're taught.
Exactly. And money comes with so much emotion, whether it's security or fear or a hope, or you just have no idea. And sometimes it comes with a lot of shame in where we've not invested, where we have invested, how many Tim Hortons coffees we drink a day. You know, it just seems to disappear, and to come back to what it is that we need is just so important.
Yeah. I think right now it more than ever, like I said, because it feels, the things that typically felt safe to invest, like real estate or global markets and all the rest, it just feels really scary.
And it's
right
changing
now.
so fast, especially what's going on in the world. You can't foresee what's about to happen.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, or what is it about you that drew you to the idea of helping families better understand their finances?
Me generally, right to the core, is I love to serve people. And to serve people is one thing. To help them understand what they're doing in their own lives and how to help guide them in a direction so that they can get to their goals, that's just me to the core. That's just me to the core, how I run my life and run my business now.
So it's in alignment with your values.
100%.
For sure. Yeah. I always think when you start a business for yourself, if that core isn't there, you know, there's all these other people say, oh, I'll start with follow the money. You know, what do you want from I don't know. I think that's a recipe for disaster sometimes. You have to have work that really, truly aligns with who you are.
Exactly. You can't pretend to be somebody else in what you're trying to make your dreams come true. You have to follow your dreams and your intuition.
Yeah. And I think people feel it, right? Like if you're not in it for them, if you're in it for yourself, especially when you're dealing with people's money,
100%.
There has to be a feeling of, okay, this person really does care about me. And so I get that sense. I got that sense from our emails too, which is really great because I say this so many times on the show, talking to so many business owners and entrepreneurs. Rapport and relationship are everything, and especially in a community. It's just really easy to get yourself on the rant and rave without, especially the uncensored one. You never want to be there ever, right? So stay in alignment.
That's right.
Starting something new is really easy, but what were some of the challenges or doubts you faced when you first stepped into this work?
Wow. Just getting out of the security of having a government job behind me and just walking away from that and realizing that, okay, now I'm in charge. I need to do all the things that my past has provided for me, which is the structure, the stability. I needed to step outside of my comfort zone, and really the biggest part for that was trusting in all of my decisions.
Oh boy, yeah.
And that is, it's an everyday process. You just have to keep trusting, keep doing, and keep going.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I fail forward faster is one that I always like to remind myself, and also that you can't have analysis paralysis. You just gotta go.
Do
right?
it.
Goal in stone, plan in sand. You gotta ebb and flow. I mean, there's so many quirky little cliche quotes that start to make so much sense when you step out on your own, and then having to be your own bookkeeper and your own marketer and your own
It's a lot.
It is a lot. But with that, as you mentioned earlier, comes your freedom, and it feels more within your own control.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The hardest thing I think sometimes is just the motivation to stay disciplined.
Yes.
Right? Like because
agree.
it feels like, I might do it now, I might not, but you have to set yourself up some guidelines, I think.
I can't help somebody if I don't actually go out and help them.
Yeah. If you don't actually meet with people.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why that is, like wishing your store would work, but no clients come in or no customers come in, right?
You have to talk to people.
Right. So we talked about this in the beginning too, but financial conversations can be emotional for people. What have you learned about how money affects families and relationships? Like, I can say from my background in counseling, money is like a hot topic.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, I've got dry mouth. Yeah, it's a hot topic. I think that's the number one reason why people split up is money.
I agree. I know in my past, it's definitely been a huge issue. And just learning how to work with families and individuals and make that money conversation just something that's open, and to just have the conversations with each other. They're tough, but they're going to be so much easier when you come together and put a plan together that you both have to work towards your goals together. It naturally unfolds. And really, when you first came together, that's what your life was. You were planning it together, and all of a sudden we do something and we invest, or we lose some money, and then we stop talking about it. And we're so afraid that it just keeps growing and growing, and we're left out in the cold all on our own. And if we just talk with our families, we can come together and better that relationship and really get to our end goals together.
Does your work help people with that conversation? Do you find, like, is there sort of a beginning? Well, maybe that's a good thing to ask. What do people expect? Like, we know what it looks like to go into a bank. My sense is your business is quite different and a lot more relational. So what does that process look like? Say somebody's like, okay, I need some money advice. I'm gonna call Kim, and what maybe walk us through a little bit of what a typical
Well, we're going to sit down just like you and I are here. We're going to have a natural conversation. I'm going to find out what your dreams and goals are. I'm going to find out what your history has been. We're going to go over some financials, what your income is, what your debts are. We're going to see where you want to be and how close you are to retirement, if that's what your goal is. And then we just put a plan in place, and we find different ways to help make it come true faster, easier, and really on the mark, so that you can accomplish what it is your goals are.
Right. What do you say to people who are maybe in their mid-50s that really have not, because life, illness, divorce, disability, there's so many factors that even if you thought you were on track, life has a way.
Absolutely.
So what about the people that are like, retirement, it's not even on my radar. Like, I just want to have a little bit of extra.
In today's society, we're all almost one paycheck away from losing everything and being on the streets, and it's just crushing. So what was the question again?
Yeah, just how, when somebody comes in, I lost my track too, because my head is so far ahead. But when someone comes in to see you and then you're going through it, and with that money conversation, what would you say to somebody who comes in and you realize, they don't have anything saved, and they don't necessarily have a lot of time to get to that retirement? The elusive retirement.
The elusive retirement comes so fast.
Yeah.
You know, when we start out in our careers, we've got so much time ahead of us, and that really is when we should be starting.
Yeah.
That's when we should be starting, and that's when we should be teaching our children when they're really young how to do these and educate them about finances.
Right.
But when we start talking to older people, sometimes you run into people that have been in jail, they've spent time in jail, and now they're out, they've been working for 20 years, but still don't have that ability to retire at 65. And it is scary.
Yeah.
You tread lightly, you be careful with your words. We can only do what's already happened because we can't change the past, but we can definitely put things in plan moving forward to get you closer to your goal faster and find different ways and different avenues to get there.
Right. What if the goal is just to get out of debt? Is that your area too, or are you more investments? Okay.
Yeah. Everything to do with financial advising.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Because budgets, people say, oh, there's so much software and you can do this and you can do that. But when that initial heat of having that conversation, especially like you said, when there's shame for past mistakes, maybe some shame because you didn't do what, we were told to do.
Yeah.
Everybody has seen that a penny a day doubled, or there's all the information in the world. But when you're just trying to get groceries and you're just trying to, I think it's finding those sneaky little leaks. We would call them emotional leaks in my line of work, but I'm thinking there's got to be financial leaks. And it's not just a Starbucks coffee. It's storage lockers. It's credit cards with high revolving debt.
Absolutely.
Or whatever. Yeah.
It just keeps going. Every time you turn around, your groceries are going up, your gas is going up, your rent, your hydro, everything continues to grow except for your income. And you see so many people out there that are doing 2-3 jobs on the side of their full-time job. And that's exhausting.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what makes your view of it just a little different. There are companies, bigger companies and banks, they may not touch you if you don't have a certain amount of money. But I mean, here in Vernon, we have a lot of folks that are, sort of right at that poverty line or just a little higher. Of course, we've got, a lot of wealth here as well. But for our purposes with the community radio station, we're just the normal people.
Exactly.
We're just trying to do the best we can with what we have. So along the way, who helped shape your thinking about business leadership and money? I know you mentioned that a friend kind of introduced you to this.
Yes.
But you would have to have been open to it somewhere, some way.
Yeah, I never thought I'd go into finances ever in my life. I just love to help people, and that's really what drew me to it, was the fact that there's so many banks out there that have the ability to help the people with lots of money.
Yes.
Me, myself, my family, a lot of the people around me just don't have the money that it takes for the banks to sit down and spend a lot of quality time with us. And that's what our company was providing. No family left behind, whether you have $5 or $5 million. We're going to sit down. We're going to go through your finances. We're going to take a holistic view of what's going on in your life, what your goals are, and we're going to find a way to work together so that we can get you there.
Right.
We're not leaving anybody behind.
Yeah, I like that. And I you keep saying goal, and in my head I'm thinking, some people just might not even have a goal, but it is so important to have. So even just through that conversation, I would imagine whatever the goal comes up, even if it's a baby step goal of, okay, well, I'm going to knock off one debt, or I'm going to not eat out as much and think of groceries, or whatever that is, that there's a step. There will be a step.
Yes.
And it's possible.
Small steps make huge differences, just like saving that penny a day. Eventually it compounds, and there's so much there. And that's really what our life is, being intentional every day in what it is that we're trying to do.
Yeah, there's definitely a psychological component to what you're talking about. Yeah, I would imagine. So I was just interviewing a young man named Johnny Braun. He's our RCMP here in town, and we talked about that, of just like perspectives and the people in town, and how that all sort of all rolls in together, of being here in this space. just lost my train of thought. There must be something in the air, but it's an interesting thing to think of the psychology. That's what it was. He said finally at Depot, and they're doing through a trauma-based lens. And I think in some ways, maybe not a trauma-based lens for your work, but for sure understanding emotional intelligence and being aware that money can be very triggering.
It can be.
Yeah, and especially if you have a couple coming in that this is their first conversation. We all know how that car ride goes on the way in and how that car ride goes on the way out.
It's scary, it's intimidating, and it's a safe place when you come in because we've already made these decisions.
Yeah.
It's just time to figure out how we make better ones going forward.
Right. And all of this is confidential. I'm
Absolutely.
imagining you probably have a strict code of, so what would you say your confidentiality program is? Like, are you same as banks? You sort of have that, everything is protected and locked down and files saved.
Exactly.
And, okay.
Absolutely.
It's super important. Like I said, I think emotions and money, they go hand in hand. We got to protect them.
100%.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
with all of the possibility of people just becoming each other nowadays. You know, it's so scary, and it only takes a little slip of information. So we have to protect our clients.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a big one. Was there a moment when you realized this work was really making a difference for people? I always like a case study, or if someone pops into your mind. Now, of course, we talk confidentiality. You can't give away any names or any identifying information, but I'm sure there's a few that you go, oh, that felt so good.
You know what? It's in the tiny moments when you're sitting down with a couple or an individual or after the appointment, but you're sitting there and they look at you and they say, nobody's ever taught me this. And, you know, you feel happy that you can create this, you can give them this information, and you just feel so overwhelmed with the ability to just help explain something so simple that just hasn't been given to everybody, and it really should be for everyone.
It's like sex ed. We're kind of waiting for our parents to tell us, but they might just hand you a book. Avoid the awkward moment. We're just
from 1965.
Yeah, exactly. That has really bad graphics. I know everybody is visualizing that book. That or the "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." Right? Who didn't read that of our age? So funny. So what is one, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here because I didn't put this in the questions for you, but is there one little tip that you love to use or to tell people just about getting started? What's one tip that maybe the listeners could even do tonight before they were to get in contact with you?
Look at your finances. Just open them. Figure out what's coming in, what's going out. Be honest with yourself.
Right.
And just be honest.
I think that's the key, right? Even if it's a notepad and paper and it's just rent or mortgage, okay, we're paying for all these streaming services, we're paying for, just getting it down on paper. It's such a reality check. I know we just did this, and where you start to see where the interest, like you think you bought something at X, Y, and Z price, but if you don't pay it off right away, it's not such a good deal, even if you got it on sale. I'm like, let's try to have the cash first before we go and buy it. It takes some discipline and some delayed gratification, which is in short supply right now.
That's exactly right.
The needs versus wants.
Yeah.
Want.
I
know, but do you want to be eating cat food in your retirement or in your older age?
And that's really how fast it's going now.
Yeah, it does.
That everybody has to choose which is more important, and at least if you know where you're at, you can decide what's more important. And just knowing what you're actually putting your money out towards. I've had a lot of clients double paying insurances or paying for gym memberships or any type of membership.
The leaks
that they haven't been using for a long time.
Yeah, and you think, well, $30, it's not that big of a deal. Well, yeah, it's a big pot of spaghetti or chili. Like, this could be feeding you. It makes me a little reflective just about the whole delayed gratification and whatnot. Again, the psychology is we want what we want, and we want to spend because it makes us temporarily feel good, that hedonic happiness, right? But really, if you switch that, you tell yourself, well, how much better you're going to feel when you have some control and some say about the money that's coming in. that gave me goosebumps. It takes the pressure off. Like it really does. Even if it's a hot mess, it's your hot mess.
Exactly.
And there's a way out. Yeah. And you just need to have a plan.
Just a plan. That's all it is.
Yeah. I think that's a good start. Just, like you said, that honesty about where you are. What would you say, and again, throwing you a curveball, as I told you I would, at this stage of the game, there's people that I've talked to that they have spent a lot of money on their kids' RESPs or, helping their kids out. There's a narrative that it's just so hard for these young folks nowadays. But what I am hearing is there's people, I saw you raise your eyebrows, you're like, oh, hot topic. Should we be doing that and hoping that they will support us in their basement with their highfalutin careers? Or would it be more productive to maybe have that hard conversation with our kids and say, you know what, student loans are actually pretty reasonable. And for me personally, I think when you put a value on something, people work harder for it.
Exactly.
Which is why we don't give away kittens. You need to charge $10, right? So is that something you would feel comfortable talking about?
It's really important. The younger the kids are, and it's just the exact same as life every single day. You talk about the reality. If it's not working, you have to make a little slight shift and just plan a little better. And whether that's for finances, whether that's your education, whether that's your sports that you want to go in, you really have to intentionally make that plan. It just doesn't fall in your lap. And RESPs, those are phenomenal. Use the government's funding for what it can be used for appropriately. So I'm really big for the RESPs. We've got the registered disability savings accounts now that a lot of people don't know about. And these are saving a lot of people in their retirement. And again, the earlier you start, the younger, the healthier you are, the more you have the ability to gain the ground that you won't later in life when things start to happen.
Right. So what makes me, just to sort of wrap up that question, the way my head goes, I think, yes, when they're young and money is plentiful, we put it in the RESPs. But if money gets tight for the parents, then the conversation, I think, is teaching the kids not to wait on the parents' contributions. That, yes, we will do what we can, but because everyone is very tight, I shouldn't say everyone, that's not true, but there is a sense of money's not quite as abundant for a lot of our community. And so maybe it makes more sense to start putting that money away for your own retirement and teach your kids how to not keep this cycle of relying on your parents.
Exactly. Well, we all are responsible for ourselves.
Yes.
100%.
Amen.
We reached, growing up from my grandparents who were lucky enough to be able to help my parents, who were lucky enough to help me, who I've not been so lucky enough to help my kids as much. You have to take care of yourself. Number one. And if you're having children, that's another responsibility that you have to teach them how to take care of themselves. So it's just all hand in hand. We all need the education. We all deserve the education. And
do you do any of this work in the schools?
I have not been into the schools yet.
So anybody here that is listening that has a connection into the schools, wouldn't that be great? I mean, I think they probably do teach some of that with like the capstone projects and various different things. But, I think back when I went to school, what did you have? You had home ec, sewing, cooking. If you were lucky enough to get into shop as a girl, you were, that was where I always loved to be. But we don't teach. Right. No. We just aren't. And I think even for myself, I've gifted my kids books and just said like, oh, I'm just hoping they're going to listen to some YouTuber, and get the good advice, because we didn't do everything by the textbook. No. We had some really, me and my ex in my previous life, Janesse 1.0, we did a lot of good things, but then we lost a lot of things too. And so now it's okay. What do we do at 57 moving forward? And yes, the kids had to take out their own student loans. Absolutely. Because I don't want to have to burden them when I need to retire, I don't want to have to burden them. They have their whole life to build theirs.
Yeah.
We're at the other end of it. So
That
it's like,
being said,
okay.
we also had that same life and we're here too.
Right.
So we have to realize that our children are probably going to follow in our footsteps unless they've learned some really hard way through what we've taught them, or through the education system. And it just isn't in the schools as much as it really should be.
Yeah.
The world is changing so fast around us that you can't keep up. That instant gratification, totally. It's so easy.
All the influencers and the social media comparing people that are in California to, okay, you're in Vernon, you know?
Reality is,
if you want a Maserati, you got to work.
You have to work, and it's doable. It's just a matter of putting a plan in place and executing it.
Yeah, and sticking to it. And then pivoting if you need, because I think that's really important, I think, for the listeners to know, is that, there's no shame in having to pivot. You might come in and talk with Kim and you get this whole plan, and then who knows what'll happen. The furnace may go to, on the fritz. And so then it's like, okay, well, there's $20,000 that we didn't know where. All right, well, now we need to pivot. But paying yourself is still a good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pay yourself first.
Yeah, pay yourself. Gosh, I'd heard that so many times.
How long did it take you to do that? Quite a while.
Yeah. I'll let you know when I get there, because it's still just a work in progress. Yeah. Why do you think I have you here, Kim? So I can get this advice. For someone who's listening who feels overwhelmed or behind when it comes to money, what is one small step they can take to start moving in a better direction? So we talked about, I think even A, if you're a couple talking to each other, B, just get the ugly details down on paper. And then what's the next? Just breathe and ground yourself and pick up the phone?
Pretty much. Just get in front of somebody with the education.
Yeah.
Get in front of somebody with the education, and don't just do it once.
Right.
If in 6 months your life has changed, reach back to them. Every year I meet with my clients, we go over everything, we do new information gathers, we double check everything to make sure that we're still on the right path to where we were originally going. And if something's shifted, well, now we can shift with it, or we can change the plan, or we can revise it completely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, trash on the banks or, not say anything negative there, but they are a little more cold and somewhat impersonal at times. But what, as far as your investment strategies, what is the difference between you and a bank?
Well, banks have so many clients. It's almost impossible to reach out to every single client that you've sat with in the past year. So,
or to know them, to really know them.
And so what I have the pleasure of doing is sitting down with families and actually getting to know them, getting to know their kids, getting to know what their hopes and dreams are and where they've come from, where they want to go, and just reaching out to them. Like I text my clients text me back. My girlfriend sent me a text with a snapshot the other day, and it's like, should I sign this? It's like, wait, don't do that.
Yeah, don't let me see what it is.
And then we had the opportunity to correct it before it was locked in, and just simple, quick questions that you can get answered without having to wait for a month or a couple weeks to get in to a banker. It just makes it a little bit less stressful for yourself.
More accessible.
Yeah.
Do you have an office, or do you go to their homes, or are you kind of a hybrid?
I'm hybrid. Thanks to COVID and the Zoom era, our business, it never slowed down at all. It boomed. It absolutely exploded because we had the ability to go to the Zoom. We do have an office here in Vernon, just downtown above Beach Radio.
Okay.
And so we've got advisors in there. Yeah, we can reach you on phone. We can come to your house. We can meet anywhere that we can get the information provided and keep protected.
Right, of course.
Absolutely.
Confidentiality again.
Exactly.
Yes. So do you charge for each visit, or how does that? No? Okay.
No. So luckily with World Financial Group, it's not, nobody ever pays us a fee. if there is a product that is going to work for the client and benefit them, it's actually the product partner that pays us. So there's never a fee that goes back between you and I. It's all through the big companies and
we'll let them pay.
Well,
yeah, they got all the money.
They do.
Yeah,
and it's not going anywhere, right? So
because that could be a barrier too, and that's really good to know that it's a free. I would imagine even a consultation,
absolutely,
whatever it's going to look like.
Yeah.
So just don't be afraid to reach.
Don't be afraid. We're going to sit down. We're going to take a look at it holistically. We're going to see if there's anything that we can do, or if you've got your money in the spot where it's making the best for you, we're going to tell you that, because a lot of people do have it going in the right direction and just don't know it. And it's just so nice to be able to confirm you're doing it right, or you've come this far without some help, and look, you're right there.
It is nice to hear that, right? And I mean, that's just your nature and your personality, is that it would just be like, okay, you're doing good, you're on the right track. Like, that's
what we're all just trying to do.
Yeah, we're just trying to get through this crazy thing called life.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end here, but I love this question. So looking back at your journey so far, what are you most proud of?
Oh my gosh. What I'm most proud of is doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Really just accepting that this is the right decision for me, saying it, doing it, getting out, doing the personal growth, and just finding the confidence in myself to just stick with it, because
2 to 5 years for small business.
Absolutely.
2 to 5 years. You can't bank on those first 6 months.
No, small increments. Just like finances in life.
For sure.
Yeah.
So where can listeners find you if they want to get a hold of you?
If they want to reach me, you can reach me at kimvernon@outlook.com.
Okay.
Or down at our office, World Financial, which is above Beach Radio.
Okay.
And my cell phone number.
Do you want to broadcast that?
Why not?
Okay, you go for it. I just had to you go ahead.
I'm here to help people, so please reach out. Let's see what you've done, where we can help out, and hopefully we can get you to where you need to be. So please. My cell phone is 250-351-9699.
You're a brave woman. I mean, but you're right. I mean, for business, why not? And I don't imagine everyone's got a pen and paper writing it down for nefarious ideas, how to use your phone number. All right. Well, I am just so grateful to you, Kim, for being here. And thank you so much for sharing your story and insights, and clearly for your passion for money, which I love that you pivoted. I didn't ask how old you were when you pivoted into entrepreneurship, but it doesn't really matter. I think when you have a dream and a vision and opportunity presents itself, you just say yes.
Go for it.
Just go for it. So thank you everyone for listening to Happy on Purpose here on Valley FM. If you enjoyed today's conversation, you can also find more Happy on Purpose interviews on YouTube, where we continue sharing stories from people who are making a positive difference in their communities. Until next time, I'm Janesse Pearson, reminding you that happiness isn't something we stumble into by accident. It's something that we choose. Thanks for listening.